The Built Ford Tough Player of the Year Award celebrates the top high school football athletes in Texas across classifications from all the way to the top in 6A, all the way down to 2A in eligible private schools. Each week during the season, one standout is named the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week, leading up to the very prestigious Built Ford Tough Player of the Year honors in each classification. My name is Mallory Hartley, and I'm the coordinating producer of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And sitting alongside me, it's the director of recruiting, Greg Powers.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy.
You ready to talk some 6A ballers today?
6A ballers, the top classification in Texas high school football. I am so ready. But before we get to that, if you're new here, we wanted to introduce ourselves. We are Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and we have held the authority in covering high school football in the state of Texas, dating back to all the way
1960.
1960. So Powers, let me ask you a question. Do you know ball?
I know ball.
I know ball.
We know ball.
We know ball. I think
this is where legends begin. This is where legends begin.
Correct. This is where legends begin. Covering the sport since 1960. I think that we have the authority in talking about who could possibly win the Built Ford Tough Player of the Year in Class 6A. But today our staff has put together the Built Ford Tough 6A Player of the Year watch list. And this list is awesome.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see. I know we're going to get your pick off the top, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Correct. But did you know that this is actually the 20th anniversary of the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week program presented by your Texas Ford dealers?
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And also there's been some monumental winners, especially in Class 6A. Jackson Smith and Jigba, DJ Lagway, and Keelan Russell took home the award last season.
All right, Powers. We'll start off with my pick here. Let's go out to DeSoto and talk about 2026, still weird to say, wide receiver Ethan Booby Feaster. It's no secret that he is probably one of the most dynamic playmakers in the state of Texas. In the class of 2026, of course, reclassifying from the class of 2027. A current USC commit with a high upside. And man, I would expect a big senior year out of Feaster, especially with a reliable quarterback in Legend Howell, who we've talked about for a long time. He's going to be able to get him the ball. I think DeSoto is also poised for another standout year, and with Feaster as a senior leader and a highly targeted offensive weapon, AT&T Stadium could be back in the Eagles' sights this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If they're going to have a chance to win it all and hoist a trophy at the end of the year, then Feaster has to be that guy. He's the first freshman to ever start for Claude Mathis at DeSoto, and he was the youngest DCTX 5-star that we ever named. So big aspirations for Booby Feaster and the DeSoto Eagles on the field in 2025.
He was the 2027 cover boy, I believe, in the Rising magazine, dating back to a couple of years ago when you first kind of put him on the radar, I think, for at least Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Yeah, he's been picking up scholarship offers, when he was from the time he was in the 8th grade. I think the fact is that he had 23 or 24 offers heading into his freshman season before he ever took a snap of varsity ball.
All right, moving right along here, let's talk about Houston Strake Jesuits 2026 running back John Abear. This guy put up video game numbers, or numbies, as Carter Yates likes to say, on the ground.
And, of course, he wrote a tremendous story in Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine this year about Abear. 3,532 rushing yards last season, the 7th most in Texas high school football history.
Sheesh.
Here's a fact for you. Ready for a cool fact?
I am ready for a cool fact.
His lowest single game yardage total was 151 yards. The lowest. So every game he's rushed for over 150 yards. Current verbal commitment to Washington State. So Wazoo's got one from the Lone Star State who's pretty special. But he did pick up a recent offer from Houston. So it'll be interesting to see if UH can flip one of the best from H-Town and keep them at home as the recruiting process plays itself along on the March to the early signing period in December.
I love it. Let's keep it rolling here, and let's go down to Willis and talk about 2026 athlete Germaine Bishop. it is pretty safe to say that any national recruiting analyst would say that this dude is one of the most dynamic and explosive playmakers in the country.
No doubt about it. I don't feel like you can talk about Texas high school football without talking about Germaine Bishop. I like it to use the phrase, he's not to steal it from one of our coworkers, Matt Stepp, but he's one of those players who does have that dog inside of him where he flips a switch and goes 100% all the time. He never takes any plays off. He's a rare 6A player who plays on both sides of the ball. Everybody throws out the Travis Hunter comparisons, but I like to say there's only one Germaine Bishop, and he does some things that are quite different even from Travis Hunter. He's so escapable when he has the ball in his hands. He can duck and dodge and make people look silly as they try to tackle him. But I really like seeing him on the defensive side of the ball where his passion for the game, his energy, and his relentless attitude shine through. And of course, he's committed to the Texas Longhorns, so Steve Sarkisian and co. got one of the top ballers regardless of classification in Texas.
He absolutely balled out in their game against DeSoto in the state 7-on-7
Every
tournament.
game.
Every game,
yeah,
to say the least. But he really is the real deal, and he shows out in every game that he plays in.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch him play in college. He's going to be so much fun. I know that he's going to concentrate probably on the defensive side of the ball that first year, but can Texas get him involved in the offense as his career moves forward in college? It's going to be one of the funnest stories for us to watch unfold over the next couple seasons.
Let's head over to the San Antonio area and talk about Cibolo Steele, 2026 running back Jonathan Hatton, a current Texas A&M commit. I got to sit down and talk with him a couple of weeks ago, but another guy that is going to be so instrumental within this offense this upcoming season.
If they have a chance to win it all, they're going to have to ride Hatton this year because, last year they had SMU current SMU player Jalen Cooper, current Oklahoma State Cowboys player Royal Capel. Both of those guys were like huge needle movers as receivers within that offense. And
they also had Chad Warner, too, at quarterback, who's at UTEP now. So they lost a lot of offensive weapons.
So I don't think Cibolo Steele, has to hit the reset button ever. They're reloading, but it's nice to reload with a player like Jonathan Hatton who you can depend on to give you 20 carries a game. And if he touches the rock 20 times, I like their chances in about every game that they're playing this season. And of course, he's committed to Texas A&M. So I expect Hatton to lead this Cibolo Steele offense into the 2025 season. We'll just have to see how far they can ride him. Will it be to the state championship or will it be to a playoff exit? And that's why you watch Texas high school football, right? To see who's going to win it all.
I can't wait to see what his numbers look like at the end of the season.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of these guys that I'm like, he's going to get 20 touches a game, even more than that maybe.
He's been on the scene for a long time, right, at Cibolo Steele, but because they've been able to have these other weapons, he doesn't have the wear and tear on him that some of the other running backs do. So I really think that they could just lean on him heavily this season.
I think so too. We'll move right along here to your pick. And I know you're smiling big because you feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I like this one.
Let's bounce back up to the DFW and talk about Southlake Carroll 2026 wide receiver Brock Boyd, formerly a TCU commit.
Yep.
Flipped his commitment to none other than the Ohio State Buckeyes.
He had one of the most productive junior seasons ever in Texas high school football, and I don't feel like people talk about it enough.
I just think that jump from his sophomore season to junior season was insane because I saw him both years, and it was just the growth and the sheer size that he was able to put on between those two seasons is remarkable.
Yeah, no doubt about it, because he really broke out last year with 111 receptions for 1,876 yards and 19 touchdowns. If he has the same type of production this year, then the Dragons have a great shot at the state title, and he's going to move up some of the leaderboards for some of the top or most productive wide receivers to ever play Texas high school football.
I agree. Well, and it's funny, on this list too, we've got the number 1 and number 2 wide receivers in the class of 2026. You got Boobie Feaster at 1, Brock Boyd at 2. I know you went back and forth between the two, but now it's funny because they both have a chance to potentially win the 6A Player of the Year.
Well, I also tried to employ a little bit of strategy to see if I could be right at the end of the season. I think Southlake has a good chance of winning it all. I think they have a good chance of at least advancing far into the playoffs. But as you look back through the history of these awards, if it's not a quarterback in 6A, it's typically a wide receiver. So could Brock Boyd, unseat a potential QB to win this honor?
We'll round out this list here with Austin Vandegrift's 2026 quarterback, Miles Tedecki. I don't know if you saw the, I guess it was Texas Football Today, the Monday episode at Coaching School, but they had, of course, Coach Drew Sanders
I did watch
on.
it.
And Tepper had asked Drew Sanders about Miles Tedecki. How is he off the field? And his eyes just lit up.
I love what he said about his intelligence and that Coach was learning stuff from him.
Yeah.
Even sometimes, and that, you know, sometimes you learn stuff from your players. Well, that speaks volumes about what type of quarterback Tedecki is. After leading Vandegrift to its historic first state championship, the Viper signal caller is back for his senior year, and all signs point to a monster finish to his career. After throwing for 3,256 yards and 48
That's wild.
touchdowns last year, the Kansas State commit could be even better this year. And here's the quarterback, right? Like, this was a list that I was surprised to not see more quarterbacks on. This is the quarterback, I think, who is the favorite in the clubhouse heading in. I think Angelo Renda at Southlake Carroll should get some run. But Tedecki is the guy who has a chance to go back-to-back.
Well, yeah, because I think, that like you just said, I think Vandegrift, I think Coach Sanders seemed pretty confident in his 2025 squad heading into the season. He seems like, hey, we could come back to AT&T Stadium and at least compete for a back-to-back state championship title.
Looking at his numbers, it's hard to believe that there are some detractors or doubters about what he's bringing to the table. But go ahead, keep overlooking Vandegrift, keep overlooking Miles Tedecki. Coach Sanders probably likes it that way because all he does is silence his critics game after game.
Well, Powers, it is a loaded 6A Player of the Year watch list that we've been able to put together. But of course, only one will come out victorious. Who will win the Built Ford Tough 6A Player of the Year presented by your Texas Ford dealers?